Alright everyone, welcome to the final match of the tournament. We've had rank 5, 6, and 7 finals today. We're going to wrap it up with the last one, the rank 8 finals, Yamamoto versus Kazuya. Both of these two are Shinigami, both captains of their own squads. Yamamoto is captain of Squad 1, and Kazuya is captain of Squad 8. Joining me today for this cast is going to be Yuji. He was actually here earlier in the rank 6 matches as well, so I want to welcome him back.
Yep, very good. I think Kazuya has actually been a captain of Squad 8 since I started the game almost a year ago.
Yeah, he's definitely a veteran player. He's been around for a while. We're gonna get into this match in just a few seconds here.
Yeah, Kazuya is not just a veteran. He's been in his position for a very long time. Not many people I actually know could take his spot from him either. He's pretty strong.
All right, here we go. We're getting into round 1 now.
Yep, let's see how this goes.
Kazuya gets the first turn.
Interesting enough, Kazuya's avatars also haven't changed since I started. He's used those for a very long time, I think, too.
So Kazuya is using, this is an interesting strategy we've seen evolving with the rank 8 melee pen meta. Yeah. What happens is the person who gets first turn, they'll move in and use the compound residual and then release. While the compound residual may not have the effect from their melee boost on their sword, it does retroactively get the benefit of their melee penetration.
Yamamoto opening up with an offensive play, that's a very interesting play for him. He generally doesn't open up with that. Usually opens with a weakness, but open with first turn residual instead, or one turn residual instead. And yeah, the retroactive pin is certainly interesting. Oh, and a Pure by Kazuya.
That's an interesting, very interesting strategy. It looks like Yamamoto's residual is certainly doing a lot more to Kazuya. Oh, the weakness coming out from Yamamoto as well. That's actually already bringing Kazuya down to 14,000 health. Their health is staying relatively even. Yamamoto's still going to take a few more ticks at that CR, though.
Remember Kazuya, yes. Kazuya has, yeah. Kazuya still has his ulti available, as does Yamato, but I think Kazuya's is a bit more effective in this situation. Okay, that is a very nice play on Yamamoto. But he probably moved a little bit too far to the left because, Kazuya's going in. Or is he going to barrier again? Yeah, he's going for
the second barrier. Just buying time for that residual to tick out. Maybe just waiting for the fight to get a little bit lower so his combo will be able to do more damage.
Yeah, he's doing that and trying to take out the boost as well. But the only thing is, I actually think Yamato's favor now. Or, interesting. I thought Yamato would power through that with a I think I'm wrong. I actually think Yamato, may not be carrying a dissipate because it would have been a good idea to dissipate through that barrier, as it's mostly known Kazuya doesn't have a third one, and then he could have got a free boosted hit on him. So I'm thinking Yamamoto doesn't have a dissipate equipped. Let's see, he's waiting on his turn.
Indeed, this actually pretty much negates Yamamoto's melee boost because now he's not able to use it. Oh, he gets to put the second turn of it into that barrier, although due to the position, that does actually work because while Kazuya could attack through his own barrier, he can't move through it. So it pretty much does stop Kazuya from any sort of offensive here for at least 2 turns.
And remember, that's a boosted barrier, so even with the tile at 8, it's probably still about full power as a normal unboosted one on the first tile. And the back tile is boosted.
Yeah, that's correct. It looks like Kazuya may try to... Wait, did Kazuya run out of time?
Yeah.
Wow, Yamamoto might be able to take advantage of this. He does indeed. So. And there's the leech coming out from Yamamoto. 4,000 upfront damage. We'll probably see 6,000, maybe. Oh wait, probably even 7,000 or 8,000 leech from it.
Overall, yeah, probably.
You add up all the ticks.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big.
Assuming that that's still the ultimate, which should be, then so it has probably 150% effect, and then you add in the fact that you have Bankai and level increase to that, it probably ends up being closer to 2,000. There we go, 745.
See, I think there may be some issue with ultimate leeches. That weakness, it used to kill a lot more.
That's a bit weird there. Maybe he, I'm not sure if that's still an ultimate. Maybe he switched it to a normal ability because that's a very low leech amount. If you add all of that up, that's only about 3,000 leech when the attack did 4,000 damage. Which there's no way he should be doing that. He's going to follow it up with the residual here, though. This is actually getting Kazuya pretty low. However, without the HR, Kazuya will probably be able to use his heal safely. And there we go, indeed.
Wait, was that a second leech he placed on him?
Huh.
That's... he's still absorbing.
That is a bit odd. Yeah, there's no residual. I guess he's got 2 leeches?
You can have 2 leeches on the custom?
No, I don't think so. It's possible
But
he's using one from the shop.
I think, yeah, that leech is definitely his custom leech. Because look at the ticks on it.
Yeah, that's much more like what we're getting. I'm gonna guess that the other ability there that he used was probably the rank 7 shop leech.
Yeah, I know he has that. I'm pretty sure. I've seen him equip it, so it's more than likely that's what he's running.
Dissipate comes out from Kazuya to crack through Yamamoto's barrier. Yamamoto now, even with both of those leeches, he's still at a health disadvantage here. Although he should have heal available to use any time.
But he's at a heal advantage, even while he's at a health disadvantage.
Yeah, it's true. Because he's got both of his heals up.
So.
Unless he happens to have not have a second heal, but there's no reason he would have taken that off.
Yeah, no, it's pretty vital in rank 8, especially his melee. Oh, Kazuya did use his CR and he waited, so it is a very large hit. 1400 damage on a CR is pretty huge.
Yamamoto has 2 turns of weakness onto Kazuya right now. That he's able to do, and there goes a leech again. That looks like the shop leech again, so I guess that shop leech cooldown must be pretty low, and he's just gonna spam that to try and heal off Kazuya's constant residual ticks.
If Kazuya uses a weakness though, it will completely negate. Oh, and a 5,000 damage hit. See, this is the issue with it. It does counter Kazuya's CR tick, but it doesn't counter the flat damage Kazuya can throw after.
That's very true. You gotta consider how much you get out of that single use. And I don't think he's getting quite enough from it. Maybe it's healing, when you add up all the ticks, maybe 2,000 maybe 2,000 heal. And then it did, 2,000 to 3,000 upfront damage.
It is 3,200, Levi. It's been 800 each half tick, so it's about 3,200.
The sword seal is gonna come from Kazuya. He's going to cut off Yamamoto just as Yamamoto's getting low and might have wanted to use his sword heal. This is actually a pretty smart usage of sword seal right here.
It is, but see the thing is, Yamamoto wasn't low enough he needed the sword heal. It actually was more intelligent to use his armory heal over sword anyway here. So
well, that's true, but actually the difference in heal there that you'll see would have been only about 3,000 anyway, and he's still low on health to where if he'd had his sword heal, he probably would have wanted to use it anyway. He may have wasted maybe 500 to 1,000 of the top heal off of it, but that's enough to where it's safer to be at full health, because it gives you that extra margin of health to play with.
It's a riskier play doing that one. I've been experimenting with myself, but Kazuya's gonna get about a 2,000 CR tick when he ends his turn though, because he applied weakness last turn. Yeah, definitely giving.
Kazuya that is just eating away at Yamamoto.
That is while Kazuya plays. He'll use his weakness once his CR has about 2 turns left, and it'll take like 4,000 extra damage on you, as well as you having 2 turns of weakness.
Yamamoto brings out the barrier, but it's not enough to stop Kazuya's Dissipate, which just cracks through for another 2,200 damage. The residual has worn off of Yamamoto, so now Yamamoto's compound residual is ticking away on Kazuya, but Yamamoto's got the health disadvantage here.
It is.
He's going to use that shop leech again, 2,000 damage.
I believe
or 2,600.
leech.
Yeah, he's high enough on health to where he's not necessarily at risk of getting bursted out.
Not to mention his sword heal is going to be coming back up pretty soon, and it's been so long it'll be about a full heal as well. So that was a pretty well placed leech, I think.
Kazuya is making a lot of use of that pure.
Has it been enough time for him to use his sword heal? Because he needs to, because Kazuya can kill him right now. He is going to kill him.
Oh, that's actually a good question. With the 3 turns of swords we saw earlier, it could go either way. After one more turn, he'll definitely be safe, but I'm not sure if this is the 2nd or the 3rd turn.
Okay, he used his 3rd barrier, yeah.
Okay, I'm guessing he probably had one more turn on that. He's going to use the barrier, keep it safe.
Yeah.
Even a Dissipate wouldn't be able to do much damage through this.
No.
Well, this is interesting to note, though. This is the Spirit Barrier that he's using. So since he's a melee user, the stats on that defensively are going to be pretty weak. So
actually, it's not. That's the surprising thing about it.
Well, it's not certainly not paper thin, but it's certainly weaker than you would see from using a melee barrier, particularly the rank 8 melee barrier.
Oh yeah, it is funny if with the Dissipate for rank 8, I do less if I have to break 3 tiles of it than I have to break 2 tiles of the melee. But I do slightly more if I only have to break 2 tiles.
That's very interesting. So, the sword heal comes out of Yamamoto and he heals up to full health. Kazuya now is down to 12,000. It looks like he uses his heal as, but that only heals 14,800, which suggests that he still has a little bit of heal reduction on him, maybe from using heal earlier.
Yeah, he should be fine though because it's still put into full. Which is why sword heal can be so wonderful. Sword heal can slightly deal with some HR. You don't have to wait the full tick out all the time. Yamamoto seems to have used his residual again, I believe. Yeah, really high damage residual at this point too. Kazuya at a very large disadvantage at this point in the fight.
After burning that heal, 18,000 health, and taking all of those ticks. However, if this is the same residual Yamamoto used earlier, we saw the duration was not that long.
It ends now. That should be... Wait, it'll end on Yamamoto's turn. It'll do roughly 2,000 more damage, and then it'll be over.
With the weakness on, Yamamoto looking like he wants to chain it into something else.
Actually, if I remember Yamamoto's build, Kazuya is advantage right now. Kazuya can actually win in 2 turns. Because look at the weakness damage.
7,300 damage from the recoil coming out. However, the interesting thing is the weakness that Yamamoto used tipped that recoil a little bit into Yamamoto's favor because... Oh, wait, did Yamamoto just use that recoil?
Yeah, Yamamoto used it.
It still did tip it a little bit in his favor, but he took a lot of recoil damage back from that.
He did.
Oh, look at that from Kazuya. Holy, the damage trading back and forth. Kazuya's down to 134 health.
Kazuya can't win by recoiling, that's why he didn't save it. If Kazuya's barriers might be up though. And remember, Yamamoto has not displayed that he has a dissipate.
But even with... Yeah, that's very true, but 1 row, that's close enough to where Yamamoto might be able to break it. No, however, it would be a risk.
No, because Yamamoto just used his rank 8 recoil. That's basically the only thing
so he doesn't have the damage.
No.
Unfortunate as Kazuya's at 134 health.
If he has dissipate, he wins though. Dissipate, it's over. Actually, I just realized, Kazuya could have played that even safer. He doesn't have his rank 8 recoil up. Kazuya could have actually just completely backed up, and there's no way Yamamoto would have been able to reach him even on the side.
Oh, that's true. Yamamoto brings out his heal, bringing him up to a safe 19,000 health.
Kazuya's made some pretty slight misplays, in my opinion, in this match. He's got Yamamoto, especially that standing still. That actually really hurt him. And it is showing throughout the match. Because that gave Yamamoto a slight HP lead for a while.
Yeah, that one turn where he went AFK.
It did. It definitely hurt. He missed
the turn. That weakness allowed Yamamoto to take tempo from there.
Awkwardly enough, had he not moved and went AFK, he would have been fine, but he moved in front of Yamamoto's barrier, so he got Yamamoto for
so he was lacking his own safety.
Yeah.
Looks like Yamamoto moves in, uses the offense boost.
Kazuya gets to heal, though. Kazuya can keep playing around for a little while as well.
There should be one more turn.
Time the offensive boost. Yeah.
That's very true. One more turn of that offense boost he needs to wear off. Yamamoto could be able to punch through that barrier, but it's still not going to do that much because he doesn't have the dissipate to be able to break through it. So he'd just probably take more damage than he deals, so it's not really worth.
By the way, both of their sword heals should be coming back up within the next 3 or 4 turns.
That's true.
I'm kind of curious if it's going to go long enough that the sword heals are going to come back into play. They might.
Most likely, since they're both almost full, well, Yamamoto's almost full HP, Kazuya's got about half health, and he's going to be able to play around it because of that barrier, mostly.
Well, the funny thing about Kazuya's build, because he hasn't displayed it yet, Kazuya may... Oh, Yamamoto missed his turn. It won't hurt him that much.
All of the missed turns this match.
Yeah.
Actually, you almost wonder, there is a case to be made in this situation for potentially doing that on purpose, which is that he saves pools by doing it because he's not in a situation to be attacked. However, the problem with that is you need to make sure that you don't get hit for 2 turns because the AFK weakness lasts for 2 turns. If you can avoid being hit for 2 turns, then it can be worth it.
It can, but Yamamoto has 3 barriers to do that. But here's the issue: he's probably burning more pools using the barriers to block it than he is saving. But he actually has a health advantage.
At the same time, while he does that, he's just gonna opt to roll with it. Yeah, but he still has that weakness on him.
It's because he has a huge health advantage.
It's true, but Kazuya's sword heal should be coming up soon.
It should, but
I guess it still does give Yamamoto tempo advantage. So there's that.
yeah, that's why I did it. Because see, look at that residual tick on the Kazuya, and Kazuya is actually probably dead right now if he cannot sword heal right now. It is definitely over.
Oh, 6,700 health. We'll still see another tick of that. I think this is where Yamamoto's going to take that fight. That one, even with the AFK tick that Yamamoto had, the earlier tick from Kazuya, just too much.
It did. It's because of the timing of what it meant. Yamamoto's didn't hurt him. He already had a huge lead when he did it. Kazuya's was when they were roughly at a stalemate and it was going either way.
See what Yamamoto's able to bring out here. All he needs to do is 6,700 damage.
No,
In a melee versus melee fight, that is a little bit. It's there we go. Indeed, 7,500 damage from the recoil.
Yeah.
Wow. Interestingly, on that turn, Yamamoto ran out of spirit energy, so he barely won in time.
See, this is the disadvantage to using the rank 8 or the rank 6 spirit barrier sometimes as melee, is it does eat away at your spirit energy, and you kind of lose a good bit of what you don't have using Segunda Tougher with it.
Very true. Well, with that, Yamamoto takes round 1. We'll get round 2 prepped and get everybody ready for it, and start that one in a couple minutes.
Yep. Well, another thing I was also going to mention, Jay, he didn't actually have to do that much damage, because he also, if you saw at the end, took 2,600 residual as well. He only had to do about 4,000.
Oh yeah, that's true. The double tick of that residual pretty strong.
Yeah, it is. It's really strong. Yeah, a 7,000 health disadvantage that late into the game without heals up is pretty much the point you can't really make up for it anymore, unless you can make the other person lose their Bankai first. That's the only way to stop it.
So with that, it also makes me wonder if maybe the AFK weakness wasn't just to save pools on Yamamoto's part, but also to bait Kazuya into attacking. Because it's very easy to see someone go AFK and your eyes kind of light up and you think, oh, I got that 50% weakness on them. I can go do some damage. But then really, you got to look at the health and make sure you're not just getting baited into running in and dying.
That's because you got to wonder, can they 2-hit me before I can 3-hit them? That's one of the requirements, in my opinion, to have a build that works in Rank A right now. Is you don't have to do it every fight, but you have to have a build that has the potential to about 3 or 4 hit somebody. If you can't pressure somebody into being 3 or 4 hit, then they have huge advantage over you. Very easy to stop it, but you need to make them stop it.
Yeah, that's for true.
And in that fight, just because of the 7,000 health disadvantage, Yamamoto could use almost any 2 combination of moves and just do all of Kazuya's health. Especially with that 1-turn residual and the low pools at that point, it was pretty bad.
Indeed, indeed. When it gets later into that fight, the pools drop. We've seen the damages increase drastically in some of the earlier matches, from early in the fight to later in the fight, just due to the pools. And here we go. Round 2 is now starting. We'll see who gets the first turn in this one. Kazuya gets first turn again. We'll see how he decides to adapt. Maybe he's not going to open with that CR start. That CR start actually didn't seem to help him too much that time.
If you want my honest opinion on it, I don't think the CR start's actually very good. I know that the way retroactive pin works, it can make it okay, but I actually think it's still affected way too much by just not releasing first.
Yeah,
the biggest advantages.
It's very true. The only possible advantage to move it is if you expect your opponent to be running away. In which case, like, maybe you're, melee versus spirit, and you expect your opponent to be moving away and maybe binding you or putting an AoE up or a barrier, anything like that. In that instance, getting the damage out is better than releasing and then having them move away to a position where you can't do it. So maybe in that situation it would be worth it. But in this match, they're both melee, so that's not really going to be the case.
Yeah, they're not going to be running away from each other early. So it's... Oh, Kazuya stood still and waited. Kazuya actually does this quite a bit. He doesn't like getting first turn multiple times over his opponent.
Oh, that's right. I think that actually happened in one of his previous tournament matches as well.
With me. Oh, really? He did it with me as well. Because I actually assumed he did it with me because we got into a match and I had first turn and it had to be restarted. But he may have done it anyway just because he kept getting first turn.
Well, it's a nice moral thing to do. The problem with that is you're actually giving your opponent more than the first turn. You're not making the fight equal. You're actually putting yourself at more of a disadvantage than it would be if they had rightfully gotten first turn, because the system assumes since you got first turn, you have the advantage, and it gives the person who has the second turn in the battle 25% dual resist for 2 turns. Well, technically it's 1.5, but essentially it's 2 turns.
Yeah,
So
I was actually going to ask you if you could actually determine that yourself. There was a way to make somebody get first turn with your system.
currently with the tournament system, we don't have the ability to do that. Probably for next year, I'm going to actually add that. And so once the match is started, the system will be able to more control the best of threes. So that's one upgrade I'm looking into making for next year. But for this year, we don't quite have that capability. The damage traded back and forth. Yamamoto is now taking 2 residuals ticking onto him. Kazuya uses his sword heal to heal up to full.
Remember that Kazuya used his ultimate CR as well? So it is actually quite nice to have that sword heal and then the ultimate CR and then his other CR ticking. Yamamoto can't feel it right now.
Indeed, so here's probably going to come the barrier out of Yamamoto to stop this offensive. Even with that though, those CRs are going to do some serious damage. Yamamoto's health is already down to 13,000. If he takes that down about another 3,000, he'd be primed for heal. Oh, that 6,600 damage through the barrier with the recoil even, not even the dissipate. That's why I was mentioning that spirit barrier is not as strong as you think it is. Just because Yamamoto doesn't have the stats to power it up as well as a melee barrier. Yeah. So he takes a 6,600 hit from the recoil through it. And now, Yamamoto just took the weakness.
Because of this, watch. That's why it doesn't matter. It does matter to an extent, but unless Kazuya also has a second dissipated
hook, there it goes.
Watch this. Yes. Now this is going to give Yamamoto free reign to do whatever he wants, unless he didn't time it right. When he's been using that against me, I get trapped within that barrier for roughly 2 turns before I go. He did not time that well against Kazuya at all.
Kazuya's able to move around. If Kazuya has that rank 8 recoil, he'll be able to get a hit on the Yamamoto here. In fact, he might even... Oh, there it goes. He uses the pure instead. 6,700 damage. Is he going to follow it up? Yamamoto moves behind the corner of the barrier. This should... Let me count the squares. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, that should prevent Kazuya from being able to hit him. And he's going to stand still and wait. Is he waiting for some heal reduction to wear off before he uses his other heal? Or is this still on cooldown? Is he waiting for it to come off? You gotta wonder.
I believe he's waiting for it to come off. The nice thing about Kazuya for Yamamoto is he doesn't carry the melee boost, so he can't just boost and really take gigantic momentum off of it.
Yeah, that's very true. It's a really useful tool to use in situations like this, where you're not able to actually hit your opponent. You can just move in, use that offense boost, and then maybe you'll take 1 hit, but you'll be able to deal a stronger hit back to them.
It's especially good with CR trading, because it makes your CR ticks longer the whole.
So Yamamoto jumps in and he uses that heal, but you can see some of the heal reduction was still on him. He only healed 11,900 health instead of 12,900 like we normally see.
I think Kazuya actually has this. It's over.
Yeah, look at this. The leech is coming out of Yamamoto, which may save him for now, but with that heal reduction still on him, Kazuya has quite the health advantage.
Weakness? Oh, yeah, he used... That's not bad. That's actually slow. Yeah,
5,000 from the pure. Pretty much whatever Yamamoto does at this point. Even with that leech. Okay, alright, he's got the residual going on to Kazuya now. But the leech is off. The leech is off, and Kazuya still has 3,000 health advantage. Yeah. Here comes the weakness from Kazuya. 1 attack will pretty much end it, unless Yamamoto has the defensive ability here. But all his barriers should be on cooldown.
I think they actually have about 1 turn on the spirit barrier. It's been a while, but I think it has about 1 turn left. Yeah, this is not going to be a good fight. Kazuya has this one won, I think. I don't believe there's anything Yamamoto can do to react to it at this point.
He's moving back. Oh, he barely had the spirit barrier back up. Yeah. Will Kazuya be able to punch through this and continue the offensive? However, if this one's up, you got to assume the others are up as well.
They are up now. They're all timed. And the only thing about this now is Kazuya is now free to be trapped. Because he used his recoil as well, Yamamoto can now trap him in, at least in the back row by using his melee barriers to rewrite the spirit barrier and keep that 3rd tile. It'll give him a couple turns. He's
moving in instead, and he hits him with the recoil. I don't know what he was thinking there. There's no way that was going to have enough damage to do it. And Kazuya turns around with 11,000 damage and comes back to take round 2.
I don't get that one. Yamamoto, maybe he was running lower on pulls or something?
Could be. Perhaps all of his heals were out. Maybe somehow the other barriers were on cooldown, but I don't see how that would even be possible. That's true. He may have used something else while he was outside of it. Yeah, it's good timing on Kazuya's part. He was able to get through with that final offensive. So that's round two. At this point, Yamamoto and Kazuya have both taken 1 round each. We have potentially 3 rounds left, depending on who wins. This is a best of 5. So whoever wins 3 matches first will take the match, or 3 rounds first will take the match, rather. Yeah, I mean, we have to remember Yamamoto still has 240 million XP and Kazuya has 367 million. Now, while they both may have their primary offensive stats capped, there is still quite the advantage to be gained by having more sword skill to power up your sword moves. And, and then even also having the capped movement skill. Um, Movement skill doesn't have the biggest effect on damage, but in these types of fights, every little bit helps. Indeed. And you gotta imagine if Yamamoto had the stats to back that up, he might have even been able to take that round. Indeed. All right, here we go. Round 3 with Yamamoto versus Kazuya. Looks like Yamamoto gets the first turn this time. We will see what he is able to do with it. Indeed, the other really interesting thing about next year's tournament is it's almost certainly going to be MPVP. Although we'll probably also have a 1v1 division. But at the very least, we'll also be having those 2v2, maybe 3v3 battles, which should be pretty interesting to see. That is going to be a whole different type of strategy when you got multiple people on the battlefield. Well, I'm not sure who told you that. Okay, that's true. That is something that I've been considering. But anyways, back to this match now. We've got Kazuya bringing out the barrier to stop Yamamoto. He just wants to buy that time, get off some CRs. Kazuya's only down about 1,800 health here. I guess a little bit more than that. About 2,000 health. Yeah, about 2,000 health. 2,300. Indeed, with Yamamoto having moved back away from that barrier. 1,300 base damage is quite a bit. 3,300. It's taking higher down. Oh, no weakness, just to amplify that even more, as well as setting up Kazuya for potential recoil here. Yeah, if he just face tanks this, that's gonna hurt a lot. Oh, Yamamoto bring out something different. He brings out the heal reduction, bringing Kazuya down to 11,000 health. This is actually a pretty interesting strategy because Kazuya is just about down to that threshold where he would want to heal. The issue here is Yamamoto going to be actually able to deal enough damage to Kazuya to force him to heal? Because Yamamoto still has weakness on him. He still has that CR ticking on him. Kazuya can potentially end this in 2 turns. Oh, 10,000 damage coming out from the weakness to recoil. And those residual ticks are going to just about end this. So I don't know if that heal reduction is what Yamamoto needed right there. Indeed, he doesn't. With the Yamamoto still taking residual damage, Kazuya brings out the barrier as well. Yamamoto moves away. He doesn't want to dissipate through that. Perhaps he didn't bring the dissipate this time, or he just doesn't want to give Kazuya another free hit. Either way, he's moving to the side and using the offense boost. There's probably still about 30% heal reduction left on Kazuya. If Yamamoto doesn't manage to land significant damage in the next 2 turns, it's not going to matter much. 3,500 damage from the residual. Yamamoto has to be pretty careful here. Oh, indeed. That should just about save him. If Kazuya's... Yeah, okay. Kazuya opts for the heal. A little bit of that heal reduction was still left. You see the heal did 13,000. We normally expect those to do about 15,500. So it was about 2,300 above its below its max. With that lead should save him because Yamamoto should still have 1 turn of weakness left on him, which Kazuya can use to land a pretty hard-hitting recoil. It looks like Kazuya opts to use the Pure instead for 7,000 damage. That does take the Yamamoto down to 11,000. However, the residual still ticking away on Kazuya should do maybe 2,000, up between 2 and 4,000 more damage, depending depending on how it ticks. Yeah, with the heal reduction earlier. Also, the other thing to note is that since the heal reduction was still active when he used his last heal, the heal reduction that was active then gets stacked on top of the 50%. So since he had maybe 15% heal reduction on, that's going to stack up to maybe 65%. And that all has to... Oh, yeah, there we go. With the weakness and the recoil, Yamamoto manages to do 9,400 damage. And Yamamoto is able to take round 3. Yeah, indeed. And these guys both being melee pen users, they're able to cut through that resistance and deal really high damage with it. So with that, Yamamoto is now at a 2-1 advantage. If he wins one more round, he'll take the match. Otherwise, if Kazuya wins one more, we'll be into a decider round 5. We have not had a deciding round 5 this entire finals. The closest match we had was rank 7, where I believe it ended up being a 3-1. Indeed, the longer the fight goes, you got to keep track. There's so many things you have to keep track of. All of your cooldowns, your opponent's important cooldowns. Even you have to count turns if they use a barrier, if they use an offense boost, a sword seal. Uh, yeah, area residuals, everything. There's a lot of actual factors to keep up with. So while it may seem simple, as this is turn-based, so there's no real-time aspect, and you get sort of more time to decide your strategy. There's actually so many things to keep up with that it's hard to be able to manage all of them. Here we go into round 4. Kazuya gets first turn, moves in, releases his Bankai right away. Looks like no free turn for Yamamoto this time. Kazuya knows if he loses one more match, it's over. So looks like he's going to go all out. They're both in Bankai now. Kazuya gets the first hit now. See which ability he opts with. He's going to opt for the weakness start this time. He's opting for the weakness rather than the compound residual. We'll see what he's able to follow it up with. What's Yamamoto going to do? Is Yamamoto going to start? There we go. The barrier chain is already starting from Yamamoto. He's going to offer that, but Yamamoto still has 1 turn of weakness left on himself. However, this clever little play will allow him to gain 2 turns of weakness onto Kazuya, instead of Kazuya now can only really effectively use 1 onto Yamamoto. But is that going to matter? The sword seal out from Kazuya. Indeed, so he has to use the Shop Leech instead, which we've seen does not heal quite as much. That's a pretty decent amount though, 1478. So it'll heal about a total of 3,000. Yeah, 5,000 coming out from the Pure. Yeah, Hit Reduction is a very interesting ability. If you have the damage to be able to get it out, it can be very, very useful. You just have to be able to find the right balance between using it and the timing where you're going to be able to pressure your opponent enough into using a heal. Otherwise, like we saw last match, if you use it and you don't have the damage to back it up over the next couple turns, your opponent is just either going to kill you or they're just going to wait it out. They're trading recoils back and forth now. Yamamoto is now down to 7,400 health after getting hit with the recoil after Kazuya healed. Yeah, well, that's true. Even if he gets a boosted hit in, Kazuya here is almost full health. Yeah, that's true. It does. Kazuya will still have maybe a slight tempo advantage here if Yamamoto only gets 1 turn of offense boosted hit, depending on what he uses here. But it looks like Kazuya doesn't even want to allow that, so he's just going to use the barrier and stop the boosted hit entirely. That's very true. I've actually tried I've tried the rank 7 leech out a little bit, but I'm not sure it really packs the punch you need it to unless you have the other things like multiple barriers to back it up. Yeah, rather than standing and waiting and just giving away a free hit to Yamamoto, he could have had an offense boosted next hit coming right here. But instead he gets, yeah, that just gives the tempo away to Yamamoto. The ultimate CR coming out of Kazuya, 1,400 initial damage. That's higher than we saw earlier. That's going to tick heavily. But the leech, it's unclear, but it looks like Kazuya dropped the weakness onto Yamamoto. Oh, indeed, with that heal and the weakness still onto Yamamoto, and Yamamoto also still down to 17,000 health. Well, he'll probably heal another 3,000 with that leech on this tick. Oh, but the residual does do a lot to somewhat cancel that out there. So Yamamoto's still only at 18,000 health. He trades the weakness back and forth. Oh, they're 4,400 damage. Look at that, 4,400 damage just from the weakness Kazuya deals to Yamamoto, and that brings indeed. So Yamamoto is now at a 12,500 health with the weakness on. He could potentially die to one hit to Kazuya. How so he opts for the barrier to try and stop that. However, even as he barriers, the dissipate comes for 24 damage, and look at those residual ticks. 2,000 damage. He's stacking barriers on barriers, and it looks like this Kazuya CR has worn off. Oh, Kazuya is able to throw out one barrier. So he uses his barrier to somewhat cancel out Yamamoto's barrier, Which actually, yeah, yeah, potentially. But with Kazuya's health up, that may have not been a good option for Yamamoto because he was so low that he would have been able to die. Oh, or sorry, you mean Kazuya would have been able to hit Yamamoto with the recoil? Yeah, potentially. Except the problem there is that he was half trapped by the barrier. So with it being three wide, you can't both move up and move around the barrier. The pathing just won't allow it. The offense boost coming out here. He did burn his sword seal. If Kazuya could manage to do enough DPS without getting taken down, it'd be pretty advantageous. It looks like he's going to go for it. We'll see what he has. The weakness is off. Oh, the sword seal again. However, with the offense boost, I don't think that's too much of a problem for Yamamoto. He's still going to be able to get maybe a shop leech and a recoil out if he wants. Yeah, look at this. There's the shop leech. The shop leech that we saw hitting only for 2,000 is now hitting for 4,000, which means we'll see at least 4,000 heal coming out of that now. Yeah, we're gonna see the 4,000. Kazuya's using the weakness, but that weakness is gonna have to do a hell of a combo to be able to punch through 20,000 health. Yeah, if he chains both recoils, the question is Yamamoto could bring out another leech, except that he's still sword move sealed for 2 more turns. He does indeed. Brings out 10,000 damage, and he only takes 2,000 back. Yeah, very, very true. So he still has a 2,000 health even after that's done. And the weakness comes out. This is definitely a big tempo swing into Yamamoto's favor. Now that Kazuya has burned the other heal, Kazuya can't even use another heal now because of the heal reduction. He has probably 3 more turns before he can get the full effect out of it. You know, are you sure? I think he should still have 1 more turn of seal left. Ah, I see. Oh, 14,000 damage comes out of Kazuya. That's actually pretty strong. That's going to force Yamamoto to play on the defensive now, unless he thinks he can punch through 12,000, but he already used his recoil. He burns the heal, that only gives him the 6,000 health advantage. With Kazuya able to get this hit, Kazuya might be able to turn this around. There's the weakness for 3,700. And you know those sword recoils only have a 2 turn cooldown. So if he lands one more ability in his sword recoil, it's over for Yamamoto. Yamamoto's got to be very careful about this. But to counteract that, Yamamoto goes ahead and uses the shop leech for 4,200 damage. Indeed, he's up to 20k, which pretty much puts him out of the danger zone of being able to be 2 hit by Yamamoto. Yamamoto's still going to have 1 more turn of weakness left as well. Yeah, there we go. The weakness to stop that. I almost feel like he shouldn't burn the dissipate on the spirit bear, and I feel like maybe he should try to do something risky like recoiling through it so that he could dissipate through the next one. But that would probably just give away too much free damage to Yamamoto. And there we go. Yamamoto uses leech. Oh no, Kazuya is out of stamina. His move fails, and his Zanpakuto force seals. Yeah, if you're low on stamina, you get quite a bit from the extra regen because it doubles when you're low. Indeed. Yeah, that's true because as we saw last fight when Yamamoto won, actually he had ran out of spirit energy right at the end because when you're melee, your spirit energy pool is very low. Yeah, that's true. Leech, the amount that you leech each turn is affected by your opponent's dual resist at the time of that tick. So Kazuya trades back with the weakness. I don't think this is going to be enough to do that, though. He's sealed and he's taking that residual damage. One recoil from Yamamoto should end this now because Kazuya essentially has no DR active.
He wouldn't win right now, but he would still win the match because of Kazuya's pulls. Because Yamamoto also has a health advantage. Health advantage when you both have no pulls and can't release is also huge.
And there we go, Yamamoto with 10,900 damage from the recoil. That's going to give Yamamoto the 3-1 win over Kazuya. And Yamamoto will take the Rank 8 championship.
Honestly, I expected Kazuya to equip the melee boost after losing to that barrier strategy the first time.
Yeah, it would have made a lot of sense. There was a time right in the middle of that fight where he moved around the barrier and he just had to sit and wait. And that let Yamamoto move in and get the free hit, whereas normally you want to use the melee boost there so that when Yamamoto moves in and tries to get that free hit, he's going to take 2 really hard hits afterwards. But Kazuya wasn't able to make that adaptation in time, and due to that, Yamamoto ends up becoming the winner of the Rank 8 tournament.
Kazuya is definitely set up to fight a majority of rank 8s, but it seems like he may not have the right setup to deal with somebody who uses so many barriers.
Indeed, Yamamoto's leech and multiple barriers strategy a bit unorthodox. I don't think most people would have thought to use the spirit barrier, but it actually ended up just being enough for him to take it.
No, I'll be honest. Melee's being able to use 3 barriers is actually kind of ridiculous at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely something
If
you wouldn't
played
expect.
correctly,
It's probably something we actually have. We have some plans in the future to change it so that you're not able to use any moves like that. Probably melee won't be able to use any spirit abilities, and spirit won't be able to use any melee abilities sometime in the future.
It's because I feel like that should be one of the only perks battles get, because battles already feel slightly weaker right now, and that may at least boost them a little bit if they're the only spec that gets to use the same thing, the both of them.
Well, Balance is already getting their own buff next patch with the cross damage type weakness, where using any melee ability is going to start applying spirit weakness, and then using any spirit ability, apart from AoEs of course, is going to apply melee weakness. So that should help them make some interesting combos. There's actually a lot of possibilities for that, whether it's through just normal pures and recoils, or even immolate combos, knockback combos. There's a number of possibilities that they can use for that.
I see. So you're actually trying to promote people to use both sets instead of focusing super hard on one as balance.
Yes, sir. As balance, you already have to, because since you have equal amounts of both pools, you have to balance out the damage types of your moves in order to not, run out of one type way before the other.
But many people use one for utility entirely.
Yeah, it's true. So this just sort of, instead of having to, only use one set for utility, they'll be able to chain some more interesting combos together instead of just relying on maybe like spirit AoEs and then just melee for damage. They can pick and choose a little bit more now and do some more creative things.
I think it'll be nice because I feel like the way you're doing it is it's giving you a real reward for doing it, and it's not just an option. There's incentive to do it now.
Indeed. Anyways, with that, that's going to do it. This match was pretty exciting. It ended up going to 4 rounds, and as they traded blows back and forth, but Yamamoto was able to take it in the end. We're going to go ahead and sign off for now. It's been a great tournament.